Hello Wonderland, Kelly here, in my backyard, on my back deck. It's a gloomy, rainy day, which I thought might be fun, because I had a comment recently. Someone asked me, because I had done my backyard birding video with the R7, the 800mm f11, and the 1.4 teleconverter. And he was asking, what about just the R7 and the 800? And yeah, I haven't really done too much with that, at least not lately. So I thought it'd be a good opportunity. He was asking how it does in good light, and I'll get to that. Not right now, obviously, but I'll get to that. But I thought a gloomy afternoon like this might be interesting to try to put it through its paces as well and see what I can get just here in the backyard. Maybe I'll go into the woods behind the house a little bit. Be a little less rainy there. But yeah, there's lots of birds in the backyard right now that I'm seeing, so I will shoot some of them from a seated position. I'm not going to use the tripod on this one just to see what we get handheld. So with the R7 and the 800, that's a 1280mm effective focal distance, focal length, and f11 of course. So I'm sure the ISOs will climb, but we'll deal with that in post. And I'm going to set to FV, which is my normal for birds these days and wildlife in general. I'm going to do a shutter speed of, I'm going to say 1/500th. I'm not going to do much birds in flight, but I want to get enough to mitigate camera shake, even though these are stabilized. Yeah, we'll go with that. So right now, if I'm shooting at that, I'm getting an ISO of 5000 at f11. So yeah, that should clean up okay, but we'll see how it goes. Stay tuned. Actually, haven't been filming a whole lot lately, just because I kind of forget until it happens, but my spring allergies, when the oak pollen hits, are rough. Gets my eyes mostly, so I try to limit my exposure to the outdoors, and of course, I love to film in the outdoors. But a rainy day like this will knock the pollen down a bit, so that's good. And again, good opportunity to get out in some dim light to put this kit through its paces. Here I'm under tree cover. It's still raining, but it's not too bad under the trees. And of course, the 800mm is not a weather sealed lens. I think the R7 has basic weather sealing, so I'm not worried about it, but I don't want the lens to get too wet. So yes, show you what I'm looking at here. This is just a little, this is actually all behind my house. And it's great to have this, right? It's a trail that I like right behind my house. So yeah, I'm hearing birds. I'm going to find a hopefully relatively dry spot to settle for a little bit and see who appears. All right, let's do it. succeeded in staying dry, as you can see. So, I think I got a few shots though. Enough to proof of concept. All right, so I'll see if the rain lets up a little, I'll shoot some more in the backyard while it's still gloomy for the low light situation. Found a few decent birds, I think, in the woods here, and I did a couple of macro from a distance, just to show that capability of this lens as well. The minimum focus distance, and I know I've mentioned this before, is like over 20 feet. So it's tough to get macro, tough to situate yourself right at that maximum magnification point. But one thing I do want to try, I got some RF mount extension tubes, and I want to try the 800 with those to see how that works. So I'll throw that in this video as well at some point. Okay, almost lunchtime. Gonna head back in, continue this loop. I have come to the John Radcliffe Conservation Area in Chesterfield County. I've not been here before, so I'm here with Mike. We're checking it out. Thought it would be a good opportunity to get some more shots for this video with the R7 and 800 millimeter. So that's what we're doing. So far the light's not great. It's pretty foggy and it's early in the morning, but the sun's rising. It'll burn that fog off. See what we get. Already getting some good stuff. Yeah, let's check it out. So we're here along the Appomattox River, and this is a bit of a warbler hotspot right here. So these trees around us, there's several warblers hopping about, spring migrants. See if we can catch anything. So far, I have to say, the fog is a little bit of kryptonite for this combo. If it's far off and there's a lot of fog, ooh, a kingfisher. I missed it. Yeah, it has trouble locking on in the fogs, but I imagine that would be true of quite a few combos. We also saw a juvenile bald eagle, and I missed that too, so hopefully they'll both come back by, that and the kingfisher. Okay, keep going. We're only a little bit into this hike actually, but ooh, there's somebody right up there. Okay, let's see who we can see. I see you. This is super cool. We're at kind of the end of the trail before we loop back, and there's a dam behind me. Hopefully you can see there. I'm walking on top of it. Bunch of birds here. Some swallows, rough-winged, I think. great blue herons over there, very nice. Turtles. Keeping an eye out for cottonmouth water moccasins, venomous snake. This would be a good spot for them, and Mike said he's seen them here before, so. Wow, noisy over there. So far though, not really getting a lot of shots, I must say. The birds are not cooperating, or I must say the kit can't quite lock onto them if they're up in the trees and surrounded by leaves. It's not quite sure what's bird and what's not, so. Or it could be my fault. It's always an option. So, yeah, gonna get some stuff here. I think we'll get some good stuff here. Let me pan around and kind of show you what I'm looking at. So, here's the dam that I'm walking on. This part's rocky, but most of it is smooth. Appomattox River here, off into the distance. And I'm hoping some of the raptors that we've seen will swing back by. Bald eagle, osprey. I would take a kingfisher again. Swallows are swooping around over here. So, yeah, this is really cool. Let's get to the end. So, I can't lie, this was a bit of a frustrating excursion. The park is great. Radcliffe, first time here, absolutely love it. It's not a real long hike, but every bit of it is good. And it goes through a few different ecosystems. So there's the forest, like I'm in right now, which is alongside the river, which is right over there. Swampy stretch, that dam area with all the rock scramble in the river. Love that kind of thing. So surprised I've never been here before. Thanks to Mike for introducing me. Really like it. Definitely be back here. But photographically, not too much. Got some stuff, I'm sure. But a lot of times we heard the birds and didn't see them as usual. Or we'd see them, but by the time we got the camera up and ready to shoot, they were gone. So a lot of frustration in that perspective. I was trying to chase the swallows, shoot them in flight. Difficult, especially at 1280 effective millimeters. I did it before with the R5 and the 800, and that's doable. 1280 is a bit more challenging on the R7. So if they're far enough away and you can manage to get them in frame and they keep moving consistently, which swallows don't, then it's not so bad. But yeah, that was, I think I maybe got one shot that might be decent out of that. And it was overexposed, but I think the sharpness is good and the bird pose is good. So maybe I can clean it up. We will see. You probably already saw. But yeah, I didn't get a whole lot here. But I have been shooting with this kit for the last few weeks to try to compile some shots for this video. The R7, 800, how it does in different kinds of lighting, different situations. So here's those shots. Future Kelly cutting in. I realized I hadn't really talked or kind of given some final thoughts on this bad boy, on this video. So yeah, talking about the 800 f11, of course. Sometimes I don't like this lens, but then I'll use it and it'll surprise me. And I think that hopefully came through a little bit in this video. So it was difficult to use sometimes. Low light, obviously. You have to crank the ISO super high, as you're seeing in the EXIF info that I'm showing. It can be difficult in foggy conditions. Ran into that. Just acquiring things at the 1280 millimeter effective focal length is a little tricky at times, but I did end up with more usable swallows in flight shots than I expected, so that was good. But sharpness, sometimes I feel like it's lacking, but when it really nails focus, it is a sharp lens. So yeah, and it comes down to the price, right? This is, I don't know what it's going for right now, maybe 900-ish US dollars. But where else are you going to get an 800 millimeter lens for that price, even if it is f11 all the time? The stabilization works well. Optically, it's good, if not really good. Yeah, it's worth having, to me. Either this or the 600. If you don't feel like you need the 800, and on an R7, maybe 600 is plenty. But yeah, I'm glad I have this, and I thought about selling it at one point, but I'm not gonna. So yeah, you might have noticed though, and I wanted to mention this, I've added a little bit to mine. So it doesn't come with a lens hood. So I got an Amazon lens hood, which I do recommend for any lens really. I like to have a lens hood on sunny days. It avoids that off-axis lens flare stuff going on. And I've also added an L bracket as a tripod foot, as it doesn't come with one of those either really. And that is crucial if you want to mount it on a tripod. You don't want to mount the camera with this hanging off the front, because that's a front heavy monster. Yeah, you want a tripod foot as designed. And I went with an L one just so I can have the option to mount it in portrait or landscape mode. And it's a carrying handle as well. The one I got, this is iShoot, Amazon of course. It works as a handle, but it's a little sharper on the edges, not real comfortable to hold. So keep that in mind. But yeah, in a pinch, works well. And I also mentioned early in the video extension tubes as the minimum focus distance on this. Like I said, a little over 20 feet. Extension tubes can bring that down, but not by a lot. I initially got this set of 2 extension tubes, which is an 11 millimeter and a 16 millimeter. Pretty cheap on Amazon. It has the electronics, so it does pass through, autofocus and everything works fine. But combined, that's 27 millimeters of extension, which is decent. But then I also got this, which is the Photodiox 35 millimeter single piece extension. This is pretty cheap. Cost-wise, it's cheap, but it also feels pretty cheap. It's plasticky. Inside it's just plastic. Not real solid. It's solid enough, but yeah, I had questions. But this Photodiox one is super solid. Metal, hefty, felt lined inside. Definitely would recommend this. This does cut the focus distance down by a little bit, not a lot, maybe like 15 feet instead of 20 feet. I'll post the actual number, as that's out there somewhere. But yeah, there's a shot or two in the montage. I think that the rough green snake, I think that was shot with an extension tube, so I was a little closer than 20 feet, but not by a whole lot, so keep that in mind too. But yeah, generally speaking, good lens. I do recommend it. For the price, it's the best you can do for 800 millimeters. There's really nothing to compare at the price other than maybe old manual focus lenses that aren't gonna do well, not be stabilized, not be autofocus. So yeah, if you're thinking about it, do it. Okay, back to old Kelly. And on that note, I'm gonna wrap it up here. I'm on my way back to the car. It's actually Mother's Day today, so I need to get home so I can take the wife to lunch. Yeah, should be good. Actually might go to a park later, so maybe I'll bring this kit there as well and get some more shots that I can add to the montage that I just showed. So, yes, okay. Till next time, be good to yourself, take care of each other. Don't forget to be awesome. get out and wander. Later.